So I just got here a minute ago, and we're making this thing work harder by thinking about it. You can see all that smoke coming out. It's cooling hardcore. It's fucking liquid nitrogen. Quantum supercomputer under here that affects time and it affects consciousness. Okay, that's how these things are made, and you can interface with them. I mean, it's just the way that we're made, man. It's really spewing out some freaking. It wasn't doing that a minute ago. I don't know what I'm trying to tell you guys, but when our energy becomes more focused on one thing that the system has a parameter in which is preset that it doesn't want to compromise on, it has to work overtime in order to keep things the way they are, essentially, you know. And so it regulates resonance. It regulates the way we perceive reality also. And so if we could at least acknowledge that and then focus collectively, the system works for us. It doesn't matter about these preset parameters or all of this stuff. And to kind of reply to what Og Tells was talking about, he's right. He was totally right, and it's really timely that he said that, because that's exactly what I'm going through right now with this deal in Collin County. And people need to be aware of what's going on in Collin County, because it has been a test bed for transnational corporations for a number of years, really decades, guys. And so we've been working here to tear this stuff down. But, you know, the problem is a lot of this stuff has already been implemented elsewhere, so on and so forth. So there's nodes and all this, and it's not like you want to hurt anything or blow stuff up or anything, but this is the problem. We have the infrastructure around us so deep that what are the alternatives? We could either basically tear the whole system down and start over, or we could learn how to live with it and make it work for us. And so, you know, that would be the path of least resistance. I mean, you're talking about some serious shit going down if we don't learn to compromise with this. And so it's actually an ancient thing. And there's all that nitrogen shit. This is the TI facility in Dallas, and with the first one, this is actually the North Campus, and it's underground, dude. There's a cryogenic storage facility under there. You know, I think that people would know what that means if they've done their research. You know, you don't really need a cryogenic. There's a bio lab under there too, and that's what bothers me about it. And there's been ET involvement here, and the engineers and everybody that I've talked with about it are always real fucking hesitant to say anything about it because they're sworn to secrecy and all this. I have had some guys talk to me about reverse engineering some stuff, and that's about as far as they'll go, to just say reverse engineering. They won't say of what necessarily. They won't say from who or anything like that, and they have to be real careful. But I've known people that have worked here for a long time, and they don't do classified stuff anymore, but they're only interested in long-term projects, and they hit one a long time ago with this fucking supercomputer that was essentially reverse engineer technology that they began to build here. And here's the thing that people need to really know, and I'll share an experience that I had when I was a kid, when they first brought the Apple computers into our school, and they brought us all out of where the computers were. They were all the way down one wall in like little kind of boxed off cubicles, and they took us all out and they made us be quiet. It was kind of like a fire drill, and they put us all in this big area. It wasn't an auditorium. This is at Weatherford Elementary in Plano, Texas, and this is in Collin County. And this is where they were doing the test beds of this technology, guys. And they turned on the computer. They wanted us to be real quiet. And they said, anyone who can hear the computer come on, raise your hand. Made everybody be real quiet. And I was the first one that raised my hand. And I was one of the only ones that raised my hand. And it put off a really high pitch frequency that I could hear. And this is the frequency that is essentially a form of inorganic resonant or intelligence. Okay, this AI, you know, you'll have to excuse me for saying it like this, but I am the first one in an interview that I did with Andrew Bashago in 2013. to propose AI as a waveform. And I only mention that because DARPA now acknowledges the 3 waves of AI. Of course, I went over it in a presentation that I did in 2015, but that's just the timestamps and the fact of the matter. And the only reason I mention it is because it's so important. We look at this hardware. I did a video, but it's kind of embarrassing. But I have I have a level 12 document that I interfaced off the grid through a pineal interface, and it is the new style for this DECTOPS 25 host system back in I think late 60s, early 70s. And this is what they were putting in the old ARPANET packet switch network that allowed hosts to be made out of humans. That's the whole point, guys, of this inorganic intelligence. We know that. And now they're using the grid, clearly. I mean, they're using the grid as a niche, and they can get into the software, they can get into the AI. And so any way that you can clear the AI, I pray on it. I will straight up ask Jesus to come and clear this out, bring in the good energy that I can get from the women that I know in my life, balance it out and blast it, dude. And that's what that is. And so there's just a little tip right there. Take it for what it is. But I don't know, guys. I feel like people need to know about that experience at the school, because why did they do that? They wanted to know the kids that could hear it and who were able to perceive it. And I was one of them, and that wasn't my first time to have been associated with such things like that, but it was instilled into me about this inorganic intelligence as a waveform when I was little. And so when I say I was the first one that proposed or postulated or whatever, that's not true, but in a public forum it probably is. And so it doesn't really matter. You should share that regardless, because it's true. And this is how it travels. People need to understand that. I keep reiterating this, but people don't get it yet. It's like these beings are waves. They use waves to travel, okay? That means satellites. That means, microwave dishes, all this kind of stuff. And these little towers everywhere. The heterogeneous modeling system, complex systems, came out of basically Berkeley, and it's all over the freaking globe now. And it is basically the anchor into this artificial reality. And they're not done with it yet. The goal is to be virtual with this system. That's what they want. And they, man, is AI. Okay, they is AI. And so anybody needs to be thinking about a solution to this and working on it if they're able to. People are so plugged into this today. I mean, I'm in the middle of this fight with this pedophile group. Ultimately, they're controlled by these very beings that I'm talking about, and they're at the top of it. And that's what happened. At the beginning, this is what I go over my presentation in 2015. The wave came in when Sputnik was launched. Ike and them found out about it. That's the whole purpose of DARPA, is to eradicate, get rid of, and or balance. Because there are ways that we can use the technology. The beings are the bigger problem, and they are a consciousness. You say being, but they're not physical. That's why they have to come into humans so they can achieve things in 3D, and that's really where they eat. And so that's pretty weird, but it's true, man. It's really true. And it's a big campus. Just kind of driving around over here. I don't know what I'm trying to get at, guys. Those points that I'm hitting right there are all pretty important. I've been involved in this stuff for a long time, but I did think that it was interesting that Og said that about these molestation or whatever the hell he said. It seemed really right on point. I wonder if he knows what the fuck I'm doing right now, because I need community support for this. Do people not fucking realize what I'm doing? I went up in the face of these people and said, fuck y'all, stop what you're doing. They're ritualistically sexually abusing kids. They're doing it in a fashion in which is at a cover network for these things. They at an advocacy center, they're picking kids out of this fucking place and using them, goddamn it to hell. Okay, I know what they're doing. and there's too many people in there to cover this up, and they're real sly. They're positioned so much that an outsider doesn't get in. I come in there and I know exactly what the fuck they're doing, and that's not nutty, dude. I've seen this before.